And leaked U.S. documents have revealed that disagreements in Russia's security apparatus led to the defense ministry being accused of undercounting casualties of the war in Ukraine. Now, although Russia has said very little about the scale of casualties on its side in the war, files show the FSB security service claimed officials were not counting deaths of the Russian National Guard, the Wagner mercenaries, and others. Russia says the leaks may be fake, deliberately dumped by the U.S. online.
The details corroborate with claims that Russia's military and security groups have had frequent disagreements about the handling of the war in Ukraine, and that Russia has avoided publicizing the number of dead and wounded. Almost 110,000 casualties were reported in February. Previously leaked U.S. documents estimated Russian losses at between 189,500 and 223,000 casualties, with 35,500 to 43,000 men killed in action. Russia's most recent official figure dates back to September last year, when officials confirmed the death of 5,937 servicemen. The same documents say underreporting of casualties within the system highlights the military's reluctance to convey bad news.
Right, let's turn attention now to other stories. Qatar and Bahrain are restoring diplomatic ties after years of a long-running dispute. The foreign ministries of both countries say delegates from the two countries met at the headquarters of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Council General Secretariat in the Saudi capital, Riyadh. The Secretary General of Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Undersecretary for Political Affairs of Bahrain's Ministry of Foreign Affairs met to discuss resolving a feud that dates back to 2017. That year, Bahrain, along with Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt, imposed a diplomatic blockade on Qatar over claims it was too close to Iran and backed hardline groups. Now, Qatar has always firmly denied the allegations. And Chinese President Xi Jinping has emphasized the need for boosting of efforts for China's armed forces modernization level on all fronts. He says more efforts must be made to ensure they respond to complex situations properly in order to resolutely defend China's territorial sovereignty and its maritime rights and interests. President Xi also called for greater enhancement of realistic training on some key skills to elevate their combat capabilities. Away from China to Europe, where in his visit to Northern Ireland, U.S. President Joe Biden has called for the restoration of power sharing at Stormont. In a speech delivered at Belfast, he commended the post-Brexit deal struck between the UK and the EU, known as the Windsor Framework, insisting it is essential for maintaining peace in Northern Ireland. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, is suing his former lawyer for $500 million over an alleged breach of contract. He says Michael Cohen breached his duty as attorney to act in his client's best interest. The lawsuit comes amid escalating attacks from Mr. Trump's allies on Mr. Cohen, who is a key witness in a New York investigation into the former president in relation to hush money payments to a porn star. The legal action filed in a Florida federal court also accuses Mr. Cohen of making improper, self-serving and malicious statements about Mr. Trump, his family members, and his business. Mr. Cohen worked as Mr. Trump's attorney for more than a decade. In 2018, Mr. Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison and a fine after pleading guilty to charges of fraud and campaign finance violations. Now out of prison, Mr. Cohen has become a high-profile critic of Mr. Trump and a frequent guest on news programs.